Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, in today's presentation, we'll be focusing on lesson 5C, dealing with the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran in sentence form, in phrase form, and it appears at the end of the Quranic verse. Just to remind you that we've completed lesson 5A, where we find Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes come individually. 5B, it comes in pairs, in twos, and today's presentation is towards the end of the Quranic verse in phrase form, in sentence form. So let's look at some of the examples that we can identify in the Quran to understand this concept. When we look at this particular verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah ghafurur rahim. This is how the Quranic verse is ending. So this is what I mean. We can call it sentence form. When we say phrase form, because it's coming at the end of the ayah, it's part of the ayah, but it's coming at the end. That's why we could also refer to it as phrase form. But let's use the word in sentence form. So towards the end of the ayah, we see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now terminating the ayah, and he says, Inna Allah ghafurur rahim. So we're not only saying Ghafur or only Rahim or Ghafurur Rahim. We're adding something to it which is Inna Allah. So which now gives more meaning to the names and attributes of Allah. When we say Inna Allah Ghafurur Rahim, surely Allah is all forgiving, all merciful. So this is what we mean by sentence form. Another example, you're reading the Quran, you're coming towards the end of the verse, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. Now what does it mean? Surely He alone is the all-forgiving, the all-merciful. Now you can see this particular sentence has something extra or additional when you compare it to the one on top. On top we said surely Allah is all-forgiving, all-merciful. Here we said surely He alone is the all-forgiving, the all-merciful. So besides the ma'rifah nakira difference, we can see the word alone appears because innahu huwa. So this is how you will see it changing throughout the Quran. So many ayat can end like how the first one is ending. Many ayat of the Quran can end how the one at the bottom is ending. Another example, you read in the Quran and then you come across the end of the verse where Allah says, Inna Allah kana ghafuran rahima. Surely Allah is ever all forgiving, all merciful. Here the word ever is added because of the word kana. And then one more example before we go into the book. You're reading the Quranic verse and Allah says, Wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. And Allah is over everything, all powerful. So here you're not only looking at the word qadir, you're looking at Wallahu ala kulli shay, Wallahu ala kulli shay, and you're adding qadir at the end. So it's in sentence form, and this is how you need to now learn how to first of all recite and then memorize the meaning. Now in essence, what do we mean is that when you go to the Quran, you will find there are two ways of learning vocabulary of the Quran. One is the common way, the individual words, where you take each word, whether it's to do with Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes, or whether it's any other general word in the Quran. You learn Ghafur means all forgiving, Rahim all merciful, and so forth. And any other word that you learn besides Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes. Another approach to learning vocabulary of the Quran is what I refer to as phrase form learning. So now you learn Inna Allah Ghafurur Rahim and you get the meaning of the whole sentence, the whole phrase. You're not taking each word individually. Inna means this, Allah is Allah, Ghafur means this, and Rahim means that, and now put it into a sentence. You say Inna Allah Ghafurur Rahim and you repeat what it means in English. It's like how we listen to Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. The moment we listen to Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, we know Allah is saying, oh believers, oh you who believe. We listen to other phrases like ittaqullah, innal ladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. So here we're not focusing on each word separately. We get so used to these phrases or expressions in the Quran that even if somebody tells us innal ladhina amanu wa amilu salihat, certainly those who believe and do righteous actions. If somebody has to ask us which word means righteous actions in this ayah, even if we cannot pinpoint which word it is, but we can tell the meaning of that whole phrase. This is what is meant by phrase form learning. So you're not pinpointing to any particular word, you're trying to get the essence of the whole meaning of whatever that particular ayah or end of the ayah is. Allah Ta'ala is communicating to us in that particular few words. So this is a very effective way of learning Quranic Arabic as well. And once we get used to the idea, you will see its effects, because remember, the Quran is full of repetition. Things are repeated. So that is why phrase form learning is so effective when committing to Quranic Arabic. Now we can go into the book. There are some changes I've made to the page numbers, so I would like the brothers and sisters who have the hard copy to just make those changes, what you see on the presentation here on the slide. That is 78. So in today's presentation we have 78 to 82 in the book. In the hard copy you will see it as 81 and 85. It's the same notes, it's just the page numbers have been changed because I made slight alterations to that, slight changes to it. So it's page 78 where we do names and attributes of Allah in sentence form. So did you know many Quranic verses end with the names and attributes of Allah in sentence form? We will now take a look at some of the common ways how these ayat and verses of the Quran end. Now I want you to understand the approach to learning this. Here is on the right hand side in green the Quranic verse, how it's ending, like Wallahu Ghafur Rahim. Then we give you the translation of it. On the left hand side you see added word or words. What that means is that if you take Allah Ta'ala's name or attribute that appears in that particular verse, whether it's one name or more than one name, two in pairs, besides those names and attributes, the other words that come in that sentence that's giving the additional meaning is highlighted in the extreme left. So when we say Wallahu, what is the added word or words? It's Wallahu, and Allah is. Number two, Inna Allah Ghafur Rahim. What is added to Ghafur Rahim is Inna Allah. You will see it written at the end here on the extreme left. Inna Allah, or sometimes Anna Allah with a fatha. Both ways are in the Quran and in Arabic. Surely Allah is. So now we're understanding it. We're giving more meaning to what we're just memorizing in phrase form learning or in sentence form learning. Here we're trying to identify which words are giving that additional meaning to the sentence or ayah. Page 79, the same approach. Inna Allah la ghafur rahim. It makes us understand that inna and la. Inna Allah and la. What la is additional? It's added to the Ghafur Rahim. Most surely Allah is, because we got double emphasis here, inna and the la in Arabic. Most surely. Innahu Ghafur Rahim. Surely He is. The who means He. Wa huwa al-Ghafur Rahim. And He is al-Ghafur ar-Rahim. Lahu al-Ghafur Rahim. The difference between this one and this one is the la. The la is added to huwa. So surely He is al-Ghafur ar-Rahim. And then you got innahu huwa al-Ghafur rahim. Surely He alone, because of innahu huwa. So who was sufficient. The huwa is add, and that is what is giving the meaning of alone, where you're making it exclusive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we go on to page 80. This is the activity you will complete. And to remind you also, the answers for lesson 5b can be found in the link below. Then we go on to page 81. additional names and attributes of Allah Ta'ala in sentence form. Innaka ghafur rahim. So now innahu, we cancel out the hu, we put ka. Ka is you. Surely you are ghafur rahim. Innaka anta. Innaka anta. Innahu huwa innaka anta. Surely you alone. You are as-sami'ul alim. Inna Rabbi, that's another common way Allah will say something with regards to His attributes, names and attributes. Inna Rabbi, surely or most surely, because of the la here. Inna Rabbi la, most surely my Lord is. Wa kana Allahu ghafuran rahima. Wa kana Allah, and Allah is ever ghafuran rahiman. Inna Allah kana. What did we add here when we compared it to the one on top here? Inna Allah. So you notice you say Wallahu. The moment you put inna, it becomes Inna Allah and no more hu. That is to do with grammar. Inna Allah kana, surely Allah is ever. And Wallahu ala kulli shay'in qadir. And Allah is over everything, all capable, all powerful, and so forth. Ala kulli shay, over everything, over all things. And then we go to page 82. This is the activity 2 for today's lesson 5C. You'll complete this, and inshallah ta'ala we will match the answers the next time we meet, and you will then see what you've got right and what you've got wrong. That's all for today, and this brings us to the end of 5A, B, and C, where we dealt with Allah Ta'ala's names and attributes in the Quran. It comes in different ways or forms. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.